Today I will be presenting on the relationship between the Mediterranean diet and cardiovascular disease, or CVD for short. The purpose of this video will be to answer the commonly asked question of whether practicing the Mediterranean diet truly has an effect on the development of cardiovascular disease. So keep watching to find out. Let's gain some background on cardiovascular disease. Cardiovascular disease is a leading cause of death globally, accounting for 18 million deaths yearly. It is a non-communicable disease, which means it can't spread person to person and develops slowly over time with few symptoms. People often don't know that they are suffering from CVD until they have a heart attack or stroke. Cardiovascular disease is caused by the formation of fatty buildup along blood vessels. The accumulation of plaque in the blood vessels eventually closes off the vessel completely, eliminating blood flow to the area of the body. There are several risk factors associated with cardiovascular disease, a few being lifestyle, whether someone smokes, drinks excessive alcohol, maintains a high saturated and trans fat diet, or lives a sedentary lifestyle. Age, because as we get older, we become more susceptible to CVD, family history, and sex. Males have an increased risk of developing cardiovascular disease. It is notable that obesity, type 2 diabetes, and high blood pressure are known precursors for cardiovascular disease. Though the idea of cardiovascular disease may seem daunting, it is a preventable disease. At this point, you may be asking yourself, what is the Mediterranean diet and if it can actually prevent CVD? Seeing as CVD has serious and deadly repercussions. The Mediterranean diet is based on the eating habits of people who live near the Mediterranean Sea, such as the French, Italians, Greeks, Spaniards, and Northern Africans. The Mediterranean diet is composed of a high consumption of monounsaturated fatty acids, primarily from olive oil, whole grains and cereals, fruits, vegetables, legumes, fish, seafood, nuts, seed, moderate wine consumption, sweets, on special occasions, and little to no red meat and dairy products. Here's another visual to help you get a better understanding of what the Mediterranean diet consists of. The Mediterranean diet is rich in dietary fiber from whole grains and cereals and monounsaturated fatty acids from olive oil. Whole grains make up the base of each meal, and their dietary fiber binds to cholesterol during digestion, allowing excess cholesterol to be excreted from the body. Whole grains are also associated with reduced low-grade systemic inflammation and prevents the progression of type 2 diabetes mellitus and hypertension. While some studies have been lumping refined grains and whole grains under the same category, data indicates that only whole grains offer protection against CVD. A high percentage of calories are sourced from healthy fats like olive oil, which is often drizzled over meals or used to prepare meals. Olive oil is not only rich in monounsaturated fatty acids with known health benefits, but also oleic acids and polyphenols. Oleic acids and polyphenols protect against oxidation of blood lipids and help maintain stable LDL levels. LDLs are low-density lipoproteins that cause injuries to artery walls associated with the development of arteriosclerosis, which is a contributing factor to the development of cardiovascular disease. This is why LDLs are usually referred to as the bad cholesterols. The monounsaturated fatty acids in olive oil also lowers blood cholesterol levels by helping remove LDL cholesterol from the bloodstream. Fruits and vegetables are essential to any diet, not just the Mediterranean diet, as they provide us with dietary fiber, simple and complex carbohydrates, vitamins, particularly vitamin C and vitamin E in the Mediterranean diet, and minerals. Fish and seafood have plenty of omega-3 fatty acids that aid in decreasing blood triglycerides and reducing blood clotting, thus lowering the risk of strokes and heart failure. Wine, preferably red wine, has an abundance of antioxidants that help increase HDL levels, also known as the good cholesterol, while decreasing LDL levels. HDLs are high-density lipoproteins that are released by the liver and circulate in the bloodstream, picking up LDL cholesterol. This reduces the chances of LDL aggregating in blood vessels, effectively slowing the progression of plaque buildup in the arteries. The last component of the Mediterranean diet are sweets, processed foods, and refined grains, which are rarely eaten, typically on special occasions like weddings and anniversaries. The American Heart Association recommends the Mediterranean diet as an effective technique for reducing one's risk of developing cardiovascular disease, and they have decades of research and observational studies that support their statement. The Mediterranean diet did not gain prominence until the early 1960s, when the 7-country study found a correlation between following the Mediterranean diet, and a decreased risk of developing cardiovascular disease. Since then, numerous studies have found that the Mediterranean diet offers a protective effect against cardiovascular disease due to the high percentage of calories coming from healthy fats. One study found that following a relatively strict Mediterranean diet contributes to 25% reduced risk of mortality associated with cardiovascular disease. The National Institute of Health also determined that subjects following the Mediterranean diet for approximately 5 years had significantly lowered risk of cardiovascular disease-related deaths. The Mediterranean diet has been found to result in high plasma antioxidants related to reduced body weight even 3 years after intervention. Additionally, interventional studies indicate that the Mediterranean diet reduces the risk of another cardiovascular event when used as secondary prevention, along with lowered BMI, total cholesterol, LDL cholesterol, as well as a reduction in inflammatory markers. These trends continued 3 months after participants stopped following the Mediterranean diet strictly. Notably, the French Lion Diet Heart Study found that participants who followed the Mediterranean diet were 70% less likely to have succeeding myocardial infarctions. It is a general recommendation to keep fat intake between 20 to 35% of your daily caloric intake, but the traditional Mediterranean diet demonstrates levels closer to 40%. Research has discovered that the Mediterranean diet includes high intakes of monounsaturated fatty acids, omega-3 fatty acids, moderate saturated fats, virtually no trans fats with a high concentration of alpha-linoleic acids and oleic acids. Olive oil, which is ubiquitous throughout the Mediterranean diet, is rich in polyphenols, and red wine, consumed in moderation, also has high levels of polyphenols. Foods containing monounsaturated fatty acids stay liquid at room temperature due to the singular kink in the carbon chain. The kink in the chain is caused by a double bond. Kinks prevent fatty acids from clumping close together and solidifying. This allows the fat to stay in its liquid form longer until there is a significant drop in temperature. Some good sources of monounsaturated fatty acids include, of course, olive oil, but also avocados, nuts, canola oil, peanut oil, and other oils. Monounsaturated fatty acids improve endothelial function and increase flow-mediated dilation, allowing for more blood flow through arteries and reducing blood pressure. These fatty acids also help lower LDL levels while maintaining steady HDL levels and have been proven to be beneficial when used to replace saturated fats in one's diet. Omega-3 fatty acids decrease triglyceride levels in the bloodstream and reduce blood clotting, thus lowering the risk of blocked arteries, ultimately minimizing the risk of strokes and heart failure. Omega-3 fatty acids in fatty fish have also been found to be cardioprotective. Alpha-linoleic acid is part of the omega-3 fatty acid family and can be converted into EPA and DHA, which are essential fatty acids. But this process is extremely inefficient with little EPA production and almost no DHA. Alpha-linoleic acid may help minimize the likelihood of fatal heart attacks, but researchers remain uncertain on ALA's effects on HDL levels and whether it can increase in HDL levels. Alpha-linoleic acid leads to vasodilation of arteries and reduced inflammatory cytokines that are involved in the progression of CVD, but could potentially be more effective at reducing myocardial infarctions compared to linoleic acids than was once accepted. Some sources of alpha-linoleic acids are fatty fish like salmon, walnuts, flaxseed oil, and canola oil. Olive oil is rich in oleic acids and polyphenols, which help lessen the risk of cardiovascular disease. Oleic acid helps protect against the oxidation of blood lipids, removes LDL cholesterol from circulation, and reduces inflammation. It helps to enhance the activity of antioxidants like vitamin C and vitamin E to prevent oxidation. It is also important to be mindful of your oleic acid consumption, as too much can lead to fatty liver disease and can block the body from utilizing linoleic acid, seeing as the two compete for the same enzymes during metabolism. Polyphenols associated with reduced LDL oxidation lowers the risk of atherosclerotic complications. Polyphenols have been found to improve endothelial function, lowers lipid oxidation, and blood pressure. Polyphenols have anti-inflammatory, antioxidant properties. They are considered free radical scavengers. Free radicals are unstable molecules that damage surrounding cells and tissues in an effort to stabilize themselves. Polyphenols work as antioxidants by binding to free radicals, stabilizing them, and preventing them from harming other molecules. In addition to olive oil, polyphenols are found in red wine, fruits, and vegetables. Although linoleic acid is found in small proportions in the Mediterranean diet, it is still important to discuss. Linoleic acid is an omega-6 fatty acid found widely in the Western diet, mainly in plant oils like peanut oil, sunflower oil, canola oil, and corn oil. Recent studies haven't been able to conclude linoleic acid's true effect on atherosclerosis, as it increases platelet aggregation, the frequency of blood clots, and vasoconstriction, but when it used to replace saturated fats in the diet, there have been anti-inflammatory effects. It has also been observed to reduce overall cholesterol levels, but high intake of linoleic acid has been linked to inflammation since it can form arachidonic acid, a precursor to inflammatory compounds, but studies have not been able to conclude if increased intake of linoleic acid also increases plasma levels of arachidonic acid. The benefits of the Mediterranean diet are not restricted to improve cardiovascular function and reduce risk of cardiovascular disease. The diet is linked to both weight loss and weight management in obese people. This link is significant since obesity commonly leads to an increased risk of cardiovascular disease. The diet also lowers the risk of hypertension, a key indicator of progressing CVD. Within this wide array of health benefits, the Mediterranean diet may help support healthy brain function by lowering the risk of dementia, Alzheimer's disease, and cognitive impairment, as well as regulating stable sugar levels in those suffering from type 2 diabetes mellitus. Taking decades of research on the Mediterranean diet into consideration, I can conclude that following the Mediterranean diet does minimize the risk of developing cardiovascular disease. The majority of studies have observed a reduced risk of cardiovascular disease due to the high intake of plant-based foods, monounsaturated fats, omega-3 fats, oleic acid, alpha-linoleic acid, and moderate consumption of wine that helps increase HDL while decreasing LDL levels in the blood, and increase vasorelaxation of blood vessels. Weighing all these factors, my final recommendation is for everyone to implement some version of the Mediterranean diet into their lifestyles to gain protection from cardiovascular disease, along with other life-threatening diseases. I'd like to thank you all for watching this video, and hopefully you found something insightful from watching it.